YouTubers, Steven here. Okay, welcome to my hard cider experiment series. This isn't brew day. I actually thought I filmed the intro video for this. Just so excited and so much to do. I guess I just, boom, jumped right into it. So the first experiment I'm going to do is Sweet Orchard is what I'm going to call it. I'm going to give each of these ciders their own little names just for the fun of it. The idea behind this one is I'm going to back sweeten it with Stevia, but I won't go into too much details. We'll jump right in where I started off like a goof without a proper intro. So alright, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a yeast starter going here. I'm using Nottingham Ale yeast. I know it's not my usual Coopers, but not to say that I haven't had excellent results with Coopers. I just thought I'd try something different. So, there's 11 grams of yeast in this package. I'm going to use the one package for the two experiments. I mean, it's only 2 gallons of cider, so more than enough yeast for that. So, 11 grams works out to 2 teaspoons. So I'm going to put a teaspoon each in each glass. Oh, there's a little more than 2 teaspoons. Guess Google was wrong on this one. Alright, so we got lots of yeasties in there. And this is just really, what's the best way to describe it? It's not real warm, but it's not cold either. So what I'm going to do, I was thinking about putting the whole thing in, but I'm just going to throw in a couple of teaspoons of dextrose. This is just a bag of bottling sugar that I use. What the heck? 3 teaspoons. We'll get the yeast starter going, because I'm doing 2 of the cider experiments today, and then I'll do the other 2 another day. We'll get these stirred in here. We'll get them hydrated. We'll get them hungry for more, so that as soon as we put it in our cider, it takes off. Alright, so we'll be back. Alright, so let's get this started. So this is the first video of the series that I'm going to do of 4 experiments. I thought it would be fun to name the ciders that I'm going to do. So the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to call Orchard Sweet Cider. And the idea is to try and find a way to back sweeten without killing off the yeast using like a wine conditioner. So I've been doing some reading on Stevia, which is a natural sweetener. You can buy it in the stores here locally. It's just called Truvia. And a tablespoon of this is equal to a tablespoon of sugar. So I've read some recipes online, and I did some thinking. So what I'm going to do is, with this one, we're going to back sweeten. Okay, so my first experiment. So we're going to go with 4 liters. And I don't know if you can get Graves apple juice where you are. I mean, I'm sure it's local to us here in Nova Scotia, but for some reason, their blend of apples that they use in their apple juice is fantastic for cider. So I always try and get the Graves if I can. If not, I use No Name. And yeah, I'm using a bowl. I was thinking about using a pot, but I'll use a bowl just to mix up the sugar and whatnot, and then I'll funnel it into to a carboy here. Alright, so I'll put 2 liters in the bowl. I've got a cup of brown sugar. And the other thing that I also wanted to make sure, I wanted to keep the alcohol content similar between all 4 of them, Well, it's really going to work out to 5 experiments, but the 5th one, well, that's not really going to matter. And you'll see. But I'm not going to give too much away. But, like I was saying, I want these to come out around 6 or 7%. As long as they're all equal in the alcohol content, that's pretty much a must with this one. So, alright, I'm going to let that stir. And what I'm going to do for the stevia, I'm going to do 4 tablespoons. So 1 tablespoon per liter. 3, 4. We'll give this a little stir as well. Alright. It's pretty good. I'm going to put it in the carboy and we'll come back. Alright, so here we go. I've got it all mixed. I added the other 2 liters of apple juice. I got it all mixed up. I did a hydrometer reading for the Sweet Orchard, and as you can see over here, it was 1.072, so I kind of missed my mark for a lighter cider, but because that's getting pretty close to 10, you know, 9-10%, so, but we'll see what it finishes out. I mean, maybe the stevia bumped up my number some, but then again, it was only 4 tablespoons. Not even close to the amount of sugar that the yeast is going to eat just from the apple juice alone. But anyways, I'm going to let this sit. I'm going to get the other hard cider going. And then our yeast starter is looking really good over there. There's the yeast starter in the 2 glasses. I put paper towel over the top just to, you know, keep any nasties out. But they're coming along nicely, so I'm going to pitch the yeast at the same time, so we'll be back. I ended up adding half a cup of brown sugar. That was a quarter of a cup at a time. The numbers come a little low. I don't know if I mentioned it in the other clip, but my number was a little low. It's 1.060, so a quarter of a cup brought me up halfway. Another quarter of a cup brought me up to 1.070, so 0.2 I'm not going to worry too much about. So, I get my funnel here. Let's get our yeast starters. Oh yeah, look at that. That's happy yeast. Happy yeast. Yes, sir. Alright, so, gee whiz, you know what? Didn't take into account how much liquid was in this glass that I'm going to be putting in the carboy. I'll be back while I dump some. Well, that was embarrassing. Okay, so I'm going to pour in our yeast starter here, Nottingham Ale yeast. I've been thinking about upgrading my little experiments from the 1 gallon carboys, just simply because problems like this. Where my wife works, they have food grade containers that you know, the grease comes in for the deep fryers and everything. Like I said, food grade, and they're 16 liters. So if I wanted to do a 2 gallon experiment, which is probably a little more feasible, I would have all the extra space for silly mistakes like this. But anyways, so we'll get back. Alright folks, so the Sweet Orchard. We'll finish out this video first. Starting gravity of 1.072. We back sweeten this with 4 tablespoons of stevia. Nottingham Ale yeast. And you know what? You can plan for the unexpected, and the unexpected will still kick you in the ass. So, oh well, you know what? Not going to make any difference. It's still going to taste the same. I just poured out a little more, but maybe a little watered down from the water that I added, but realistically it shouldn't affect it too much. So alright, so and stay tuned for next week for our next cider experiment. Thanks for joining me, everyone, and If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. Shout out to all my new subscribers. Thanks for joining me. As always, if there's anything you want to see, comment, question, just put it down below and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as I can. But until next time, be happy. Alright everybody, we're back. Yeah, I filmed the intro today. I'm a boob. But sometimes in the excitement of brewing, we just can't help ourselves. So here we go. Sweet Orchard. Hate to admit it, I actually only have like 2 or 3 of these left. As you can hear, oh, there's a little carbonation there. It's taking a little time. Okay, let me explain. Jake tried some. I gave him a bottle to try for him and Dar, and it was just taken. Well, this has been bottled for 3 weeks now, I think. Wow, there's a little carbonation there, and it's almost gone. Anywho, I was quite concerned because I didn't have any carbonation, and I did bulk prime. The one time that I didn't boil my water, I just threw the dextrose in. I figured, you know what, it's 4 liters of apple juice. Threw it in. It instantly foamed right up. I was, oh no, there's probably not going to be any carbonation in this, but I bottled it. Still tastes fantastic though. And but when I bottled my other experiments, they're not carbonating as well. So I was chalking it up to maybe it was the Nottingham Ale yeast. This actually came out close to 8%. My final gravity was 10.06. So that brings it just about bang on with 8%. What can I say? I'm totally blown away with how this came out, not using the Coopers. But without further ado, cheers everybody. 17. It smells just like apples. There's nothing else. With the Coopers, you could smell some sulfur or sulfites. And, there were some other estery smells there that just wasn't apple. So this just smells like apple. So, cheers. Wow. Wow is all I can say. Like, the saliva is just working overtime in my mouth. This is just like biting into like a Macintosh. And I'm quite pleased with the little bit of carbonation in it. It gives that just little tickle in the mouth. So I've actually been thinking about how to figure out maybe pitching a second strain of yeast just for the carbonation. But I've also come up with so many different scenarios, picking apart the flavors and everything, that maybe back sweetening also with the bottling sugar in it, not carbonating that much, may actually add a lot more flavor or sweetness to the apple juice, or the hard cider rather. It's really hard to say. If I carbonated, how much is it going to change the complexity of this? Because it's just like biting into an apple. Honest to God. There's no slap in the face, sour punch. It's nothing. It's perfectly smooth, and I am so rambling on. Wow. Fantastic. So, the stevia is there. But I mean, with all artificial sweeteners, you always get that little, taste on the top of your mouth. But I don't find it too sweet. I find it it's actually just a perfect balance. So a tablespoon per liter, I think, is definitely the way to go. So I'm definitely going to keep on playing with this recipe and see if I can get it carbonated. I don't think heavy carbonation is the way to go. I think, you know, a light, fine carbonation. But feel free to put your comments down below. You know, this is half the fun, is, you know, coming up with experiments and tasting these. So stay tuned for the next one. It's a hard cider that I had in Montreal, so it's, I guess, my little tip of the hat, my attempt to clone the recipe. Dieu du ciel. Hope I said that right. But anyways, folks, hope you're having a great day. Cheers, 17, and be hoppy. Wow. This could be dangerous on a summer afternoon.